In a noisy world of overreactions and emotional chaos, those who remain calm shine. There's something undeniably attractive about someone who doesn't flinch, who doesn't chase, who doesn't need to win every argument. They're not cold, they're just composed, centered. That's the Stoic way. And today, we explore why detachment and non-reactivity don't make you less human, they make you magnetic. 1. Detachment signals inner strength. In today's world, emotional reactions are everywhere. On social media, in conversations, at work, at home. We are surrounded by outbursts, impulsive judgments, and people triggered by every slight. In that chaos, detachment is not just refreshing, it's rare. It's powerful. Detachment isn't about being cold or heartless. It's not the absence of emotion. It's the presence of control. It's the ability to observe your emotions without becoming enslaved by them. To feel the sting of disappointment or rejection and still choose your response with clarity and intention. Marcus Aurelius reminded us of this in his Meditations. If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment of it. The external world can only touch you if you allow it. Your inner peace is not up for negotiation. The calm, detached person doesn't chase drama. They don't explain themselves to people who aren't listening. They don't beg to be understood or validated. They don't crumble when things don't go their way. And that quiet restraint, it draws people in. Because in a sea of overreactions, someone who can stay composed becomes magnetic. They radiate mystery, a sense of, what do they know that I don't? They hold a certain elegance, a strength that doesn't need to announce itself. It's not about being silent. It's about choosing your voice wisely. It's about not handing your piece to every person who pokes at your ego. When you stay grounded while others unravel, you speak volumes without saying a word. You communicate something powerful. I'm enough. I'm in control. I do not belong to the chaos around me. And that is deeply attractive. Because real strength isn't loud. It's still. It's centered. It's sovereign. 2. Non-reactivity is emotional maturity. Reactivity is everywhere, on your screen, in your workplace, even within yourself. We see people explode over small comments, spiral over imagined slights, burn bridges over one emotional moment they couldn't control. And yet, the ability to remain non-reactive in the heat of conflict is one of the purest signs of emotional maturity. It's not that you don't feel anger, frustration, or hurt. You do. But you don't let those feelings take the wheel. You pause. You reflect. You respond rather than react. That difference may seem small, but it's the difference between chaos and composure, between fear and wisdom, between emotional adolescence and emotional adulthood. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." What happens around you is often out of your control, but what happens within you, that's your domain. That's your discipline. The non-reactive person becomes a rock in a storm. While others are pulled into drama, manipulation, provocation, you stay rooted. You don't jump into every fire just because someone lights a match. You choose where your energy goes. And that choice, that discipline, makes you incredibly attractive. People trust the calm one. They gravitate toward the one who doesn't add fuel to the fire, but quietly puts it out. In romantic relationships, non-reactivity builds safety. In leadership, it earns respect. In friendships, it fosters peace. And most importantly, it shows that you've done the inner work. The Stoics didn't teach emotional suppression. They taught emotional mastery. And when you can meet disrespect with grace, gossip with silence, provocation with poise, you're not just mature, you're powerful, you're rare. You become someone people admire not for how loud you are, but for how little you let the world control your mood. And that is a mark of true strength. 3. Detachment creates space for respect. Cling too tightly, and people pull away. Give space, and they lean in. This is the paradox of human connection. The more you need someone's approval, attention, or affection, the less likely you are to receive it. But when you practice healthy detachment, when you're able to walk away, to hold your ground, to sit with uncertainty, you create a force field of quiet respect. Detachment is not indifference. It's inner stability. It's the ability to want something without being enslaved by it. Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." And it takes courage to release control, to trust that what is meant for you will stay, and what leaves was never truly yours. When you're detached, your value speaks for itself. You're not begging to be seen. You're not chasing what's running from you. You're not over-explaining, over-giving, or over-apologizing. You allow your absence to do what your presence couldn't. You give space for the other person to feel your worth, not through pressure, but through poise. This doesn't just apply in dating. It applies to friends, family, business, even social media. When you stop reacting to every slight, every delay, every perceived rejection, you project confidence. You project self-trust. You communicate, "I respect myself enough not to fight for what doesn't respect me back." And people sense that. They feel it. They may not always admit it, but they instinctively respect someone who is willing to walk away quietly rather than beg to stay loudly. In the end, detachment teaches people how to treat you. It sets a boundary without raising your voice. It says, "I value connection, but not at the cost of my peace." And that kind of calm, self-contained energy, that earns respect, far more than desperation ever could. 4. Calm energy is rare and magnetic. In a world addicted to stimulation, calm is an act of rebellion. People rush to speak, rush to be seen, rush to prove something. But there's something unforgettable about the one who doesn't rush. They move with intention. They pause before they speak. They don't flinch at every minor inconvenience. They exude stillness, like the eye of a storm. This is the essence of Stoic calm. Not passive, not weak, but centered, grounded. Marcus Aurelius embodied this energy. He ruled an empire, yet remained composed through war, loss, betrayal. His power wasn't in domination, it was in his restraint. Calm energy is magnetic because it's rare. Most people are emotionally scattered, reacting to every beep, buzz, and glance. So when someone enters a room with quiet confidence, everyone feels it. They don't speak over others, yet people listen when they do. They don't compete for attention, yet they are noticed, not because they demand it, but because their energy commands it. Calm doesn't mean you're never angry. It means your anger never owns you. It means you've built a fortress within, one that doesn't collapse every time the world shakes. And that is powerful, because in relationships, people trust the calm one. In leadership, people follow the steady one. In life, People remember the one who gave off peace when everyone else gave off panic. Calm energy doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. It speaks softly, and the world leans in to listen. 5. Detachment sharpens your words. When you're constantly reacting, your words lose precision. They become rushed, tangled in emotion, and often regrettable. But when you're detached, when your mind is calm and your emotions aren't steering the ship, your words become something else entirely, measured, clear, and powerful. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Let your speech be brief and to the point." Detachment isn't silence. It's selective expression. It's knowing when to speak, how much to say, and most importantly, why you're saying it. When you're emotionally entangled, you speak to defend, to impress, to be heard. But when you're detached, you speak only when it adds value, when it brings clarity, not noise. That's what gives your words weight. You don't ramble, you don't over-explain, you don't speak just to fill the space. You pause, you choose, and then you deliver your truth with calm confidence. And that restraint, that makes people listen, because they know that when you speak, you're not speaking from ego or insecurity or the need to win. You're speaking from stillness, and stillness is unforgettable. In personal conversations, this kind of speech fosters respect. In professional settings, it builds authority. In arguments, it disarms opponents. You don't shout, you cut through. You become a person whose words carry meaning, not because they're fancy, but because they're earned through reflection. And in a world full of noise, a few honest, thoughtful words from a grounded person can be more persuasive than 1,000 loud opinions.
6. You become mysterious and unpredictable. There's something magnetic about the person you can't quite figure out. They're not distant, but they're not overly familiar. They speak, but only when they've truly got something to say. They show interest, but not desperation. In a world where everyone is constantly broadcasting their thoughts, their emotions, their reactions, the one who withholds just a little becomes fascinating. That's what detachment does. It makes you mysterious, and mystery is powerful. Not because you're trying to manipulate, but because you're not giving yourself away so easily. When you're non-reactive, people can't predict you. They can't control you. They don't know what bothers you because you don't wear your emotions on your sleeve. They don't know if you'll stay or walk away because you don't need anyone to complete you. That kind of unpredictability isn't cold. It's self-contained. It says, I choose to be here, but I don't chase. I don't cling. I don't perform. It creates a healthy tension, an intrigue. People begin to ask themselves, why don't they react like everyone else? Why do they seem so content within themselves? What are they thinking right now? You don't have to say much. Your calm presence becomes a story in itself. This kind of energy naturally draws others in. They lean closer. They listen more. They begin to respect the silence between your words. Because mystery isn't about hiding. It's about mastery of your emotions, your impulses, your boundaries. And when people don't know exactly how to read you, they pay more attention. In a world full of open books, you become a riddle worth solving. 7. You reclaim your power. When you're reactive, you're easy to control. Anyone can push a button, say the right word, and pull you into chaos. But when you're detached, when you respond with silence instead of shouting, with distance instead of desperation, you reclaim your power. You stop living in reaction to others. You stop handing over your peace to anyone who demands it. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." Detachment isn't about giving up. It's about choosing where your energy goes. It's realizing not everything deserves my response. Not every battle is mine to fight. Because the strongest people aren't the ones who win arguments. They're the ones who don't need to prove themselves at all. And that's the paradox. When you no longer chase approval, you attract respect. When you stop needing control over others, you gain control over yourself. Detachment allows you to move from a place of choice, not compulsion. You're not pulled by emotion, you're led by intention. And that makes you unshakable. You don't argue with people who misunderstand you. You don't explain yourself to those who distort your meaning. You simply let them. Because your peace is no longer up for negotiation. And in doing that, you become what the Stoics taught us to be: sovereign, self-possessed, centered. This kind of quiet control is rare, but once you have it, you realize it was never about dominating others. It was about no longer allowing others to dominate you. You reclaim your power by choosing when, how, and if you respond at all.
You attract what aligns with you. In life, there's a crucial difference between chasing and attracting. When you react impulsively to everything that comes your way, you become a chaser, always running after fleeting moments, people, or things that promise happiness, but rarely deliver it. You spread your energy thin, grasping at anything that glimmers, hoping it will fill the void. But when you cultivate detachment, you step into a powerful space of clarity. Detachment isn't about shutting down or withdrawing from the world. Rather, it's a conscious filter, an inner signal that allows you to discern what truly deserves your attention and what is merely noise. By detaching, you send a silent message to the universe: I will not settle for distractions. I will not exhaust myself pursuing what does not resonate deeply with who I am. This is not arrogance, it is profound self-respect. And here's the remarkable thing. When you live this way, you don't just reject the irrelevant, you attract the meaningful. People who share your values naturally gravitate toward you. Opportunities that align with your purpose begin to present themselves. The energy around you shifts, drawing in the right circumstances like a magnet. This process is neither passive nor accidental. It is the deliberate art of magnetic intention. You stop being a passive recipient of whatever life throws at you and start becoming an active selector, a curator of your own experience. Others notice this shift, your quiet confidence, your unwavering standards. They feel it in the way you carry yourself, in the choices you make, in the calm with which you navigate life's complexities. And that's the power of alignment. When what you seek, what you accept, and what you become are in harmony, you live not by chance, but by design. Detachment isn't cold. Non-reactivity isn't numb. It's power. It's presence. It's the art of choosing your energy, not leaking it. The Stoics weren't withdrawn from life. They were grounded in it. They understood that the strongest people aren't the loudest. They're the ones who remain unmoved in the storm. And that strength, quiet, steady, invisible to some, is deeply attractive to many. Become it. If this message resonated with you, share it with someone who gives too much of themselves away. Learn to detach, learn to breathe, and learn to let them wonder instead of always trying to explain. You don't have to chase attention. You are already enough.